See, I've been watching television the last couple of weeks, and I caught you on Columbo.
Yeah.
And they had the Wishbone commercial.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Well, let's forget that.
Then you were a host on one of the award shows.
Right, photoplay.
And then Testimony of Two Men, which was big.
Right.
And you've got Kingdom of the Spiders coming
Kingdom
out.
of the Spiders movie.
And let's see what else. I was going to ask you what's new. You've got the album or not?
Oh my goodness!
How do you relax?
I'm doing a play. I relax. I'm doing a play with Yvette Mimieux in back east, a 2-character play called Tricks of the Trade, upstate, around the New York environs. There's a really terrific half-hour sports series, which should be fun, called Breakaway, if they sell it. We've made about 6, and we intend to make another 6, and it involves what people do when they break away from their humdrum existence, where they go. I've been skateboarding and skydiving and
skiing. Did you do skiing?
I did one with skiing.
Yeah.
Exactly. How did you know that?
I heard about that.
Yeah, really.
They sent the doctor bill to me.
And so that's on the hook.
You get Star Trek conventions all summer long?
Well, I don't go to. I don't make a profession out of going to Star Trek.
About 3 or 4 big ones.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then this record that you have in your hand is the big thing I'm doing now. I've gotten kind of more involved than I thought I would be in every which way, and it's good and it's bad. It's taking time away from necessary creative juices. At the same time, I'm learning a great deal about the merchandising of bringing things to the attention of the American public, how it's done. It's quite an education.
Let's talk about the album in just a minute, but let's get the Star Trek question out of the way first. We always have to ask the question. Last time we talked, of course, they were talking about making a movie, and now the big news is it's coming back as a TV show. That was as of this morning.
Right. As of yesterday, it wasn't. I tell you, it's been up and down and out so much. I'm concerned for 2 reasons. One is I'm one of the actors involved that could be gainfully employed, at least in the movie. And also, I'm a fan of Star Trek. I really like to watch it. My mind is a sieve, really. I learn lines rather quickly, and I forget them just as quickly. So I can watch many segments of Star Trek that I haven't seen in some time and not know how it's going to come out. I forgot. It's all new. I look at it and wondering what's going to happen. So I mean, I really enjoy watching it, and I would have liked to have seen a Star Trek movie. Well, unfortunately, the studio, Paramount Studio, couldn't get their act together fast enough or in time or well enough, and so the movie has been canceled. And with the advent of Star Wars taking off in America to such a degree, we must hear shots ringing out every so often as you pass by Paramount Studios. And that's another executive.
You get the feeling that could have happened to the Star Trek movie? Or?
No question.
Yeah.
Because Star Wars, as entertaining as it is and as marvelous fun as it is just that. It's just fun. It's just special effects. It's cartoon time. We could have had, if Star Trek had come out a year ago, if they had started to work on it a year ago and come out now, we could have had equally good special effects. Special effects is an art, but there are people who do that kind of thing. And we would have come up with a better story, I think, and characters. So Star Trek could have been Star Wars. So now they're saying it's going to be a television series to be put on what Paramount Studios is calling their 4th network. They're going to line up a series of independent stations. Name me an independent station here and elsewhere. Name me one.
Right here, Channel 2.
Channel 2, okay.
Or Channel 40.
Or Channel 40, that's what I wanted you to do. Channel 2 or Channel 40 might carry Star Trek because Paramount Studios will come along and say, how would you like to rent these films for a short while? And they'll line up 160 stations, and they have a new network of stations. It was done with Testimony of Two Men. And in fact, Andersonville Trial, which I was on educational television, lined up all the educational stations across the country and made a new network out of that one show. So it can be done. How well it can be done, I don't know. And as for my own position in it, I really have not made up my mind whether I want to be in Star Trek again. There are a lot of questions involved, not the least of which is going back 10 years and recreating.
I imagine the cast was primed at one time for the movie and sort of disappointing, and now the TV show and
all those things.
Maybe
sure.
before Paramount's through, it'll be a long play record or something. Okay, what about this now? This album is fantastic. Last summer, you went to 45 cities,
right.
mainly colleges, right? And did a one-man show.
Right.
And here we have William Shatner live. 45 cities, that's a lot of Holiday Inns, isn't it? Right?
Is that an accident you should mention?
No.
I mean, look, I don't want to knock Holiday Inn, but the motel situation outside of the major cities in the States is abominable. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like a monastic cell, nothing on the walls. The food is so bad. I don't mean just,
I don't want to bring back those memories.
Oh, I mean, it's wretch time. It isn't just, hey, that doesn't taste very good. It doesn't taste like home. That means it's inedible. I cannot eat this. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how many times I'd call room, and I was having to use room service a lot because going down into the restaurant was a hassle. Imagine traveling all day, getting into a motel that's barren, ordering food because you have to stay in the room. That's disgusting. Mm-hmm. Going out, playing this show, which we'll talk about, and coming back at night and being back in the same motel. And this went on for 2 months. I mean, I was ready to
you got a lot of little bars of soap to take on the bride.
And keys. I kept the keys.
This album, the thing I like about it is there are a lot of dramatic things. Shakespeare, science fiction, the H.G. Wells, and so forth. But the Star Trek end of it, which is just one small segment of it, I get the feeling where you're pretty loose and open, and you get to meet Bill Shatner.
Well, I hope so. It's a double album set. One album contains the prepared material that I took out with me, especially to begin the tour. I took out carefully written series of material that sought to show the origins of science fiction. Mm-hmm. And then I found that it wasn't quite satisfying enough for everybody, so I began to open the show up and open the lights and take question and answers. And finally, the question and answer period became half the show. So on the second album, there are questions and answers. In fact, I have more material back home in little tapes. If this album should go, I'll bring out a comedy album on Star Trek. It was educational for me. It was awesome, warming, heartwarming. It brought me to tears sometimes to talk to the people that are my audience, both as Captain Kirk and as William Shatner, and to hear them, talk to them. And the only way that could happen on a long period of time, over a long period of time, like an hour in front of 5,000 people. Imagine talking to 5,000 people and not knowing what you're going to say next. Of course, we do it. We're doing it now to millions, but it doesn't feel like that. We're intimately in a studio talking to each other. But I was alone on stage, and to talk to 5,000 people alone, before I went on, each time I had to take a deep breath and say, oh, wow, I hope this works tonight. I mean, it was never being sure of your material. Mm-hmm. And the only way I could do that was to open myself up and say, hey, I think you'll like me. I think you'll like me more than you won't like me. I'll make Freudian slips, and you'll say, aha, is that what he's really thinking? One time I said, I'm sick to death of, and it was some subject, and it came out Star Trek. And I thought, oh, no, not Star Trek. I didn't mean Star Trek. But I guess that day I was, but because I'm certainly not. But those things you anticipate.
Let me show the album cover here. William Shatner Live is the title. And inside we have what I call your band leader pose. That's a nice shot.
Right.
And
right.
This is
a poster.
Also a poster.
Yeah, the poster is
taken mine already, but it's autographed. And so
right. It's a big poster here. Like that. Mm-hmm. This was done. This packaging. This whole package was put together. Of course, inside there the plastic discs. Mm-hmm. But this here was an experience in itself. This photographic session was done by a gentleman by the name of Moshe Bracha, who is responsible for many rock and roll album covers, the kind of weird, strange covers you see. You wonder, what does it mean? Boz Scaggs has a new album cover that Moshe did, and what is it? And yet, the artistry here. I mean, this is a one-man show taken in front of a lot of people. So he brought in a lot of microphones. I happened to wear that jacket. There's a symmetry between the silver of the microphones, the silver of the jacket, the watch, and yet it all says something of what's inside the album. This is the best still photograph I've ever taken. He took it. I mean, that really is a terrific shot.
Great shot.
Yeah, and then a whole thing in red. I mean, he was a very imaginative thing. It took 4 hours of being. You know who Scavullo is, the photographer, Vogue, mostly cosmopolitan.
High fashion.
High fashion. And he's always yelling at his models, "Hey, little model, wonderful, darling, get it higher, little..." This guy is yelling at me for 4 hours. Laugh, harder, faster, cross, sneak. Every conceivable... I was in such a position where I was either a fool or doing something fantastic. And I didn't know until I saw the actual photographs whether I was being a complete idiot or getting something good.
There's one vignette in here which is worth the price of the album, I think. That's when you were in, I think it was New Jersey, in the camper, and the little boy knocks on your door. We don't want to give it away.
Right.
Yeah. This album is available. I have a mailing address for it, and I'll give that at the end of the interview. And of course, it's available at better record stores.
Well, not really. I guess.
No, it's not a record store,
no.
is it? Yeah. You have to mail away, or Federation Trading Post in Berkeley.
That's it. Yeah. Especially the mail away. I haven't laid it onto a major distributor yet because I'm holding on to it, thinking maybe I can do something with it myself.
Sure. Okay. Well, be sure to give that address. Now, you're working on another project that might be special to Bay Area fans because it involves Robert Silverberg. Silverberg. Yeah.
Robert Silverberg is one of the finest science fiction writers around today. He's like of a new generation. The big ones, Isaac Asimov and Bradbury, are not old men by any means, but are of the other generation. Bob is
part of a new wave.
Part of a new wave, exactly. And as a result of the success of this show, William Shatner Live, although I swore I'd never go out again to another of those Holiday Inns, that memory has begun to fade, and the joy of performing has begun to supersede that. So I talked to Bob, and Bob and I are getting together and are in the process right now of creating a new science fiction one-man show for me. And we have some of the material already, some of which I used last week in front of an audience of 6,000-7,000 people, and it works like a dream. So I can't wait to...
So we can look for that when?
In the spring, I expect, yeah. And I'll bring it to San Francisco. Okay,
great. And the next time you're in town, you've got a film coming out, science fiction film, Kingdom of the Spiders.
Right. It's a kind of science fiction terror story.
Will you drop by and tell us about it then?
I'll crawl by.
Okay. Good luck on the album.
Thank you.
Okay.